All right, so get this. We are diving into the deep end with Joker, Folie, and we've got an early review here from the Daily Beast that is stirring up some serious buzz, let me tell you.
And I'm guessing you brought me here to unpack it all, right?
You got it. Because on the surface, this movie sounds like a guaranteed smash hit. It's a musical, right? A musical sequel to Joker with Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I mean, come on. Box office gold, right?
You'd certainly think so. That first Joker movie, it was such a raw, gritty masterpiece. Really got people talking, sparked a lot of debate. And Joaquin Phoenix's performance.
Oh, forget about it. Oscar-worthy, hands down.
Exactly. So to hear this new one being called dreary and lethargic, well, let's just say this review piqued my interest.
It's a head-scratcher for sure.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's really interesting to me? This isn't just a case of the sequel doesn't quite measure up. This review makes it sound like they're almost intentionally trying to be different, you know? We're talking courtroom drama setting, full-blown musical numbers. It's like they took everything we thought we knew about the Joker and flipped the script.
Now that you mention it, that is interesting. So it's like they're going for subversion, right? But is that a good thing? I mean, that first film was so raw and visceral, almost uncomfortably so. Can you really capture that same energy in a courtroom, in a musical, no less?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And from the sounds of this review, it seems like they might have missed the mark.
Well, you know what they say, right? There's no such thing as bad publicity. Maybe this is all just a clever marketing tactic to generate even more hype.
Could be. Or it could be a sign that Joker, Folie, Deux, is trying to be something more than just another crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Maybe it's aiming for something riskier, something more thought-provoking.
Okay, I like that. So let's dig into that. What are some of the specific things this review criticizes, and how do those tie into this idea of them trying to subvert our expectations?
Well, this reviewer actually calls the film borderline antagonistic. Says it's, and I quote, as actively hostile to genre conventions as its protagonist is to the world at large.
Wow!
Yeah, I know, right?
That's quite the statement.
Yeah, it's not exactly a glowing endorsement, is it? No, not at all. And I think it speaks to this whole idea of subversion, you know, like
Yeah.
the first Joker film, it really thrived on this chaotic, unpredictable energy.
Hmm.
It kept you on the edge of your seat, never quite sure where things were going to go next. But with this one, with Folie, Deux, it sounds like they've gone too far in the other direction. Like they're so busy trying to be different that they've lost that raw, visceral quality that made the original so captivating.
And this is where that whole courtroom drama setting comes in, right?
Exactly.
Because when you think courtroom drama, you think order, you think structure, rules. It's the antithesis of everything we associate with the Joker.
Right. I mean, think about it. It's
Yeah.
like the review even goes so far as to compare it to the Seinfeld finale, which, if you remember, is kind of infamous for being a letdown. And I think the comparison is apt because both involve this courtroom element, right? They bring back familiar faces. And there's this sense that the creators were trying to subvert expectations. But in doing so, they kind of missed what made the source material so engaging in the first place.
That's like they zigged when they should have zagged.
Exactly.
So you've got this unconventional setting. You've got this potentially ill-fitting musical format. Is there anything in this review that gives us hope that Joker, Folie, Deux might actually be good? Anything that suggests it's not all just subversion for subversion's sake?
Well, there is one element that the review highlights that I think might pique the interest of even the most skeptical Joker fan. And it all comes back to the Joker's mental state.
Okay, now we're talking. Because for me, that's always been the most fascinating aspect of the character, right? That fractured psyche, that warped perception of reality. It's what makes him so compelling, so terrifying.
Absolutely. And according to this review, Folie, Deux really leans into that.
Yeah.
It raises questions about whether Arthur is even fully in control of his actions, whether he's capable of distinguishing reality from delusion. So it's exploring some pretty heady themes.
So we're not just talking about a comic book movie here. We're talking about a film that's trying to provoke some serious thought about mental health, about the nature of sanity itself.
Precisely. And what's interesting is that the review suggests that the film's jarring tone, the very elements that make it feel so different from his predecessor, might actually be deliberate reflections of Arthur's fractured mental state. Like the filmmakers are trying to place us directly into his mind, allowing us to experience the world through his eyes.
So it's almost like they're using the language of film, the musical format itself, to mirror the chaos of the Joker's mind.
Exactly.
That's pretty ambitious, to say the least.
It is. It is. And whether or not they pull it off, well, I guess that's up for each individual viewer to decide. But I will say this. Even if the execution is flawed, even if the musical numbers fall flat or the chemistry isn't quite there, the fact that they're even attempting to grapple with these ideas is noteworthy.
So where does that leave us? We've got this highly anticipated sequel that seems to be dividing critics. A film that's simultaneously being praised for its ambition and criticized for its execution. What's the final verdict? Should people see it?
Well, I think, the great thing about art, about movies especially, is that it's subjective, right?
Totally.
What one person loves, another person might completely hate.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. So, this review, it offers one perspective, but it's just one voice in what's likely to be a very lively debate.
So what we're saying is our listeners, they got to see it for themselves, make up their own minds.
Exactly. Don't let one negative review, no matter how harsh, stop you from experiencing Joker, Folie, Deux firsthand. Go in with an open mind, embrace the unexpected, and then decide for yourself. Is it a masterpiece or is it a complete disaster?
I love it because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. So to all our listeners out there, grab your popcorn, settle in, and get ready for a wild one. This deep dive may be over, but the conversation is just heating up.